Welcome back to our channel. The topic that we'll be discussing today is know the real reason behind how SpaceX will destroy NASA in space race. But before we start, subscribe to our channel and don't miss any updates. To start with, SpaceX's Interstellar spacecraft needs a lot of fuel to reach Mars, but there seems to be a problem. To be precise, SpaceX's Interstellar spacecraft requires much fuel storing capacity, hence the obstacle currently is not allowing SpaceX to have a successful mission. As expected by him, Elon Musk has focused his attention on solving the problem systematically, and as already discussed, this is a really troublesome situation for Elon Musk's SpaceX. However, for instance, if Elon Musk votes to start or solve the issue with a rocket, it'll make the propellant turn to the solar sail to make the Starship fly faster. To be precise, Musk once had a dreamer who's still actively pursuing his goal to transfer people and matter from the Earth to Mars. As a matter of fact, Musk has put his best efforts to provide mankind with survival options in the event of a disaster. According to his calculations, by 2050, he could transfer 1 million people to Mars to build a viable, self-sufficient community. Undoubtedly, the hurdle is enormous, and the cost that needs to be considered is too high, a lot more than assumed. Let's understand the same by taking the pretty simple example of NASA. Stating facts, NASA spends up to $2 billion on a mission, while it takes several years to prepare for Musk's large-scale migration to Mars. Hence, speaking about the same, Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, has built, or in simple words, has built a way to drastically reduce costs. He has set an aim. His goal is to fund human relocation to Mars apparently by selling man-made property. Precisely, Elon Musk intends to achieve this goal by using reusable rockets, like how he has earlier helped NASA with the same and saving their $1 billion. Initially, NASA would discard their rocket after each mission, partly because of the high cost of its operation on the Interstellar spacecraft, but it's completely reusable in the upper and lower stages, eliminating the need for a new batch of Earthlings to take off each time. However, when they arrive in Mars, they will be able to make more than 1,000 flights. The cost of an airplane is important, but it's only one aspect of going to Mars or any other planet. The technical challenge of actually building a vehicle that can reach Mars is very complicated. For example, fuel is needed to power an interstellar spacecraft to Mars. The shortest distance between the two planets is 33.9 million miles. But this is a rare case, and of course there's a reason behind it. Alright, so because the background here is how long it took for the spacecraft to reach Mars in the past, Sailor 4's first spacecraft to do so took 228 days in 1965, but it flew over Sailor 6 in 155 days. Even better, another flyby 4 years later. Whereas the next Sailor flew 128 days in the same year and sailed in the same year. The first US spacecraft, the Viking, sailed 304 days to Mars, while the Viking 2 took 333 days, only a few days for a whole year. The most recent Mars Odyssey took 200 days to reach Mars in 2001 precisely. Although it took 210 days for the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to reach 254 days for the Mars Science Laboratory in 2011, the Perseverance to reach Mars lasted for 7 months. With a total mileage of 293 million miles, it has a crazy speed of 24,600 miles per hour. As a matter of fact, the cargo-carrying interstellar spacecraft is traveling before humans, so when they appear, hence Mars can be more habitable. However, initially, this requires a lot of weight to explode and travel through space. In fact, each interstellar spacecraft can move up to 100. The meganewton weight is raised to low Earth orbit. Speaking about it in detail, Starship uses a different fuel called methyl oxygen, that is, methane plus oxygen. Besides the large amount of fuel required to refuel the Starship, it'll also be used in large quantities. This will be a logistics challenge and complicate matters. As a result, every Starship needs a lot of fuel to get rid of the gravity of the Earth. When it reaches the orbit of the Earth, its fuel will be far exhausted. On the other hand, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said that you must refuel after escaping. Otherwise, you will not have enough fuel to go anywhere in space. Not to mention that the process of refueling on Mars requires simultaneous manipulation of up to 5 other interstellar spacecraft to wait in space. Precisely, each of the built Starship tankers needs a lot of effort on its own to get rid of gravity. Hence, it's important to look at it from every perspective and possible way. But things might not remain the same, only if Elon Musk votes to change the status quo and use another method of propulsion for the Starship. Then possibly there is a way to move the spacecraft in space without burning propellant or using nuclear fuel, and that is to use a solar sail which can work for the Starship. As a result, the spacecraft basically uses the energy from the sun to stay away from the sun. It works like this. Have you noticed that when the wind pushes the sail attached to the ship, The ship moves on the water by the same principle, whereas the sail is large enough that the Starship and photons from the sun will hit the sail and drive the Starship forward. I'm very sure about the fact that we all have learned during our school times that photons have no mass, but their high speed gives them momentum to move the objects they hit, right? Now, relating it to the current case, this supposedly means that if the sails in a Starship have enough surface area, they will move the Starship forward. How big the sails must be to work? But as long as it's large enough, the Starship will move to Mars. Solar sails are particularly good because they're more environmentally friendly for anyone who cares about protecting the environment. On the other hand, in space with solar sails, it's easy to maneuver a Starship because it's similar to the way of manipulating a ship with a sail. The only thing required is to change the position or angle of the sail, and the Starship will move in the direction you want to control the spacecraft. To no surprise, the accurate route is necessary to ensure that it can reach their intended destination and to ensure that they maintain contact with the command center on the planet. Later, as the Starship gets further and further away from the sun, the number of photons hitting the sails will decrease, which means the speed will decrease. But this can be remedied by the use of laser beams that will also produce photons, and all SpaceX has to do is too. The laser is aimed at the sail of a Starship to keep it moving. The laser can basically be sent from anywhere in the universe. You can do it from the Earth or the Moon, so with a solar sail, the Interstellar spacecraft will never run out of fuel in terms of speed. According to reports, a Starship equipped with a solar sail will move very fast and swiftly. Adding on to the same, the maximum speed of the solar sail is 10 times the speed of light, which is equivalent to 18,600 miles per second or 67 million miles per hour. The Starship may not be able to achieve this goal due to its weight. And how can we miss out on this to mention Bill Nye, who is a renowned American scientific expert, precisely noted Mars when touting the advantages of solar sails. He stated that this technology could one day help transport goods to Mars. Hence, Interstellar, which is the only predecessor of the spacecraft, has been involved in a project involving planetary social solar sails. It was founded by space superstar Carl Sagan. It is now led by Bill Nye. His former students took the lead in putting LightSail 2 into orbit first. The Falcon Heavy rocket of SpaceX, a spacecraft propelled only by solar sails, was used to launch another closed spacecraft. After separating Prox 1, it also carried LightSail and then launched LightSail 2 into orbit. Elon Musk has announced that this launch is his company's most complicated so far. Well, that's nothing to be surprised about, as we have now understood the difficulties SpaceX is facing. Discussing LightSail 2, it's primarily a demonstration spacecraft. It's the size of a loaf of bread and weighs about 11 pounds when fully deployed. LightSail 2 has a surface area of 344 square feet. The sail is made of a tough, tear-resistant material called polyester film. They're highly reflective materials. They're thinner than a strand of hair on the head, whereas the components of LightSail 2 allow it to detect where the sun's rays are strongest and use them to fly in a circular orbit around the Earth 447 miles. Stating noted facts, the overall project cost $7 million and is mainly supported by crowdsourcing. On the other hand, the dreams of going to other solar sails, planets, and stars, if Musk pays any attention during the launch, he may already be considering using it on his Starship. It can solve the problem of Starship fuel exhaustion. The longest trip in human history, NASA 2 is testing a new type of solar navigation system combined with nano-avionics. Now coming to this, the mission called the Advanced Composite Solar Sail System will be deployed in low Earth orbit, but if it goes well, it can be upgraded to handle larger missions. This small spacecraft will be connected to an 800 square foot solar sail, which will take about 30 minutes to unfold. Our comment section is open to tell us what you think about the solar sails and the Starship. This was all about it. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Your thoughts and